Hello, I'm Jonathan from Boom Instructor Training, and on this video I will be going through some more feedback from an examiner from a Part 3 test. And the reason that I'm doing this is so you can learn from someone else's mistake. This video is a request. A subscriber to this channel, a PDI, sent me their feedback. They'd recently failed their Part 3 test and they asked me if I could make one of these videos for them so they and also you can learn from what went wrong. So let's go through the feedback. So the student was a partly trained pupil and the theme of the lesson was junctions. The examiner gave this feedback. Overall, an unsatisfactory lesson with a risk management fail. The PDI continuously told the pupil to look ahead when approaching the roundabout, and then just at the roundabout, the pupil looked right and stopped, even when it was clear to proceed. This nearly caused a collision on a number of occasions due to following vehicles having to stop suddenly with no guidance or feedback from the PDI. The PDI adapted the lesson to lane discipline because the pupil was looking to the right, causing her to steer in the direction she was looking, nearly causing a collision. The issue was the pupil's observation and not steering. The pupil sat and waited at most roundabouts until it was completely clear with very little guidance offered. Now, just to give you a little bit more information, the PDI who took this particular Part 3 test also sent me a voice note. And the PDI on this voice note basically said that one of the problems that he had on his Part 3 test was a lack of knowledge and a lack of training. So fair play for admitting this, but nobody can go up to the Part 3 test and pass with a lack of knowledge, having had a lack of training. I made a video a few weeks ago explaining why the pass rate for the Part 3 test is only 35%. And this is one of the reasons, either a lack of training or poor training. And if somebody has got a lack of knowledge, they've had a lack of training, or they've had poor training, there's no chance that that person will pass the Part 3 test. So as a starting point, the reason that this went so badly for this particular PDI is simply because the PDI was not properly prepared by his own admission. And taking a Part 3 test, if you're not properly prepared, is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and you're throwing away one of your attempts. You only have 3 attempts and you've literally wasted one of those attempts. Now, for anybody that's watching this that feels that they need a boost in their knowledge, they need to enhance the training they've already received, then please go to my website and check out my Part 3 video tutorials. These will significantly increase your chances of passing your Part 3 test. And if the PDI is watching this, who this feedback relates to, go to my website and get my Part 3 video tutorials. You need some extra training and my Part 3 video tutorials will provide you with this extra training. This is a message I received very recently from a PDI who passed their Part 3 test after using my Part 3 videos. Just says here, look, I passed my Part 3 test on the first attempt. Absolutely fantastic. And I love what the PDI said to me in a text message, a WhatsApp message that they sent me. Said, your videos made it happen. I just copied you. I use the words, the tone and body language which you use in your videos. And in real life, on a normal lesson, I'm following the same. And that's all you need to do. Watch my video tutorials, effectively just copy what I do and then put that into practice on your Part 3 test, and that's going to help you to pass. Okay, let's just break down this feedback a little bit more then. So it was an unsatisfactory lesson. The examiner says the PDI was continuously telling the pupil to look ahead. Well, that's wrong, isn't it? Because you don't continually just look straight ahead when you're approaching a roundabout. You need to be looking to the right as well. So you look ahead, you look to the right, you look ahead, you look to the right. So straight away there, the PDI is giving the wrong instruction on approach to the roundabout. And as a consequence of this, because the pupil was only looking ahead, then the pupil wasn't assessing the traffic on the roundabout. There was no real decision making happening. So the pupil didn't know what to do. The pupil didn't know if it was safe to go or whether they needed to stop. So just to be on the safe side, the pupil was just stopping all the time. But of course, that isn't really playing it safe, because that increases the risk of a rear end crash. And that's why it was a risk management fail, because this was happening because the PDI was giving the wrong instructions. There was also another problem. The examiner here explains that just at the last moment, the pupil was looking to the right and then the position drifted to the right. So the pupil, as they was getting to the junction of the roundabout, then at the last moment kind of looked right and steered right. So the hands was following where they was looking. So they was kind of going like that. And the PDI adapted the lesson to lane discipline, but the PDI missed the real cause of this fault. The cause of the fault wasn't lane discipline. It's not that the pupil didn't understand where they should be positioned within the lane. The cause of the fault was observation. Looking and steering, so their hands are following where their eyes are looking. So look, this was really just a lack of understanding of how to teach a pupil. That's really what it is. But again, by the PDI's own admission, it was like, it doesn't resemble at all what a driving instructor should do with a pupil. And I mean, that's really, I could rephrase the whole examiner feedback into something like, this was overall an unsatisfactory lesson because you didn't really understand what you were doing. So the PDI just wasn't giving the pupil any support, or very little support. The PDI was under instructing, wasn't giving the appropriate level of support for the experience and ability of the pupil. The PDI was really giving the wrong advice on approach to the roundabout, to just continually be looking straight ahead rather than looking and scanning and observing to the right as well as looking ahead. So I mean, I could go into massive, I recorded this video half an hour ago, and it was, and it went on and on and on because I was going into great detail about everything. But I'm not going to do that on this video. I've recorded it a second time just to keep it simple, because that's what I like to do. So the message really is, you've got to be properly prepared. You can't blag your way through this. You either know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. And this PDI just didn't know what he was doing. You've got to learn this. You have to learn how to do all of this. And that takes time and it takes effort. You can't just blag your way through it. There's specific skills and techniques that you need to understand, and then you need to practice leading up to your Part 3 test. But initially you've got to learn all of this stuff. And that's why you need to have good training. Please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful and interesting. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.